Two. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Palisades Episode 7 Aftershow. My name is Emmett, the creator, producer, host, and editor of Survivor Palisades, and we got the whole team back. We're all back here. We got Hunter, Bella, and Baylor. First time since Episode 4, we're all back together, and we're so excited to be here and talk about Survivor. This is our third to last podcast, and so it's coming down to the wire, and I know that all of you guys can't wait to talk about this all today. But let's do some introductions. First off, we got the amazing Baylor. Baylor, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. It's so nice to see everyone here. I'm just ready to talk about this episode. I'm so excited.
Now, Baylor, have you seen Breaking Bad yourself?
I've seen the first 3 seasons, and then I, for some reason, stopped watching. I don't know why, because it was.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I usually hear people stop like if they start right away, but I feel like when people get into that show, they just keep.
I know.
Yeah.
I really need to finish it. It's bad.
After Survivor Palisades airs.
After
that's the next show.
Exactly.
All right, next up we have the amazing Bella. Bella, how are you?
I'm doing good. So glad to be back, and I can't believe you only have 3 more episodes after this. Like, it breaks my heart.
It breaks my heart too. Bella, would you flip on the Girls Alliance if someone had an idol?
Like, if I had an idol?
If someone else had an idol, if you were in Chloe's position?
No. If I was Chloe, no. I think Chloe could fit pretty with the girls the rest of the game if she wanted to.
All right, and last but not least, we have the amazing host of Survivor Oregon, Hunter. Hunter, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I got my wisdom teeth out on Thursday, but I was too excited to talk about this episode of the end game to not be here. So I'm excited.
Well, we are so happy to have you. When was the last time that you personally went to Albuquerque?
I've never been. Never been to Albuquerque.
Tragic. Could be in Canada, could be in New Mexico.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
Who knows? All right, let's jump into some Survivor Palisades today. So this episode, we see the final 6 sort of emerge after an insane tribal council where it seemed like if you saw those reactions, every person was blindsided. I love that the Abigail vote. Chloe is like what happened to like she was just as shocked as everyone else. But let's talk a little bit about the fallout, maybe what we expected to happen, what we did happen. I want to start maybe with Anna and Sarah. Baylor, give me your thoughts on all that.
Yeah, so I was expecting Sarah to be like very upset with Chloe. Like I was kind of expecting them to kind of be enemies for the rest of the game. But so when Sarah's confessional was like, yeah, I mean, I don't really like what she did, but I'm still wanting to work with her for the rest of the game. I was a little surprised. I think it just shows how good Chloe is at like still being with a bunch of people and still like having control on like mostly everyone in the game. But no, yeah, I was definitely surprised at the fact that they kind of want to stay together after what happened.
What about you, Bella?
I thought she would have been a little. I mean, obviously they're all surprised. I was expecting a little bit bigger of a reaction, but I think they just have to move so fast that you do have to like rekindle those relationships. And like, who else is she really gonna go to? Like, there's the boys, but I think it's at this point easier to stay with people you semi-trust. Like, you can't trust them all the way. Obviously, she got blindsided, but if you think you can rely on someone for at least 1 or 2 more votes, it makes sense to kind of go ahead and stick together.
You can jump in here, Hunter.
Yeah, I was intrigued to see what Sarah would do because, like she said in this episode too, like for all of David vs. Goliath, she was like in control and knew where all the votes were going, and now she's been left out of the votes effectively 2 times in a row. And so I was very intrigued to see if she would like play differently, but she kind of just like fell back to what she's used to, which may or may not work out for her.
Yeah, we see Sarah playing pretty hard and aggressive this time. She's really adamant on making sure a guy goes. You guys talked a little bit about how Sarah was sort of letting other people dictate the votes. Did you guys enjoy seeing Sarah be so strong and be able to sort of maybe get something on her resume and really get a vote down? Talk me through that, Baylor.
No, yeah, I definitely do think I was very happy that Sarah was starting to kind of push to get someone out. I think the title of the episode was what she said, like she needs to like pump up the brakes, to pump up the gas and like start to make some moves. Do I think that's like a game-winning move? No, I think she does have to do a little bit more, but at the same time, I do think this is a good start to where she can build a good enough resume to win.
Yeah, I was glad to see her trying to start doing something because no one's gonna tell her what's going on. She needs to go ahead and be the one initiating it herself. Yeah, like Wheeler said, that move wasn't necessarily crazy. It was kind of, everyone really agreed to it. But just going ahead and saying, something you can say she did do was nice.
Yeah, I think Sarah's a player that as long as she's in the game, she is a threat. Like she has the ability to pull people in with her. And I think she can always like kind of garner that winner potential at the final tribal council if she's sitting with the right people. And so like she's not out of it yet.
For sure. What do you guys think about Anna's reaction? I think there was maybe some expectation that she would be the biggest reactor, and I think she was probably the least out of the girls. And there were two, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just the Palisades fatigue. I think she's pretty tired. I don't know. I just think, yeah, I expected her to be a little bit angrier, but it's okay. She was tired, but honestly, it was probably honestly good for her to not kind of overreact because I do think that's what she needs to be doing at this point. Because at this point, there's like not a lot of people to go for, and so you really kind of just want to not make yourself a threat at this point.
Yeah, like they were so close, Anna and Abigail, that if she were to get at them, like who's she gonna work with? Like like right now, you really can't take anything too personally, and like the votes are happening so fast. Like just like I think you said there's like these happen like every hour. Like
Pretty
you
much.
have to kind of just keep going.
Yeah, exactly like Bella was saying, like Anna doesn't really have anywhere else to go. Like she's kind of forced to work back with Sarah and Chloe because Anna doesn't have the best relationship with any of the boys. And so it's not like she has many other options. Which maybe Chloe like identified as something she could lean into after this vote.
Yeah. All right, let's flip it around and let's talk about the guys' reaction to this. Were you guys surprised that Sean instantly wanted to go for Dylan here and not, stay with that group of four? What did you guys think about that? We'll start with you, Bailey. And was that the right move for him?
Honestly, I think the big thing about I don't know. I get why he'd want to go for the girls, but I also think it'd be a good move to go for Dylan. I think it was smart for Sean to like really want to because that's the thing about this episode. Is like Sean was right to like want to take out Chloe. Like that's the thing is Chloe is the person to take out. Um, but it's also like Dylan is also I would say the biggest threat. So I do think maybe it's because it's like the gender lines that are kind of playing into that a little bit. But yeah, I think that's probably the big thing as to why he targeted Chloe and not Dylan.
Yeah, I was kind of confused why, like, right after the vote, he's like, oh, like, before Dylan had the immunity, he's like, let's go ahead and do Dylan because, like, looking at the girls, Sarah's still a threat. I mean, Anna, she's still there. And then Chloe did just save him. So it was just, like, between the two of them, either one of them needs to be taken out in order for him to win, I feel like. So I wasn't really sure why he targeted one over the other.
Yeah, it's tricky because Dylan is obviously a huge threat, and if Sean wanted any chance to win, he was gonna have to take Dylan out. But Dylan is also such an important number to Sean and Chase, where like if they took him out, then they'd be at risk of Chloe, Sarah, and Anna just kind of like steamrolling to the end, which I think is a compliment to Dylan, like putting himself in such a valuable spot. And so I don't know, it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, let's talk about Sean's strategy throughout the game. I think in terms of his like narrative arc, it's a little confusing because he doesn't really follow a traditional path really at all. He's in control, and then he's not in control, and then he gets saved, and then he goes home. It's not like sort of the Dylan arc where it's going down and it's starting to go up, and like stuff is happening. It's like when he gets on the bottom, he sort of is just there and then goes home. So it's a hard thing to maybe track. But we see at the beginning his strategy is about shields. He targets Catalina because she is the person who gives him the least amount of protection. He probably had the worst relationship with her. But then he gets to the merge and he targets Dylan, who is, arguably the only other really big, like, male physical threat. And then he targets Dylan again here. Is there any advantage for him to maybe just keep working with these people that are shields for him at this point in the game, even at the final six?
Yeah, I think honestly it would have been a smart move to kind of keep Dylan like the bigger threats at the beginning of the game. But as the game has kind of gone on, since it's gone a little bit later, it is still kind of harder to keep like the shields still in. I think it is kind of the time to start taking the shields out now. So I do understand like why he was trying to take out Dylan to an extent this time. But yeah, I definitely do think it was a very smart move to like not target any of the like during the first Yara vote out to target Catalina. I think that was a really good move on Sean, and it showed like that he's honestly a good game player still.
Yeah, I think also just the like Sean is I don't know, he just like almost got voted out and then he immediately went kind of like trying to call the shots again with the Chloe vote. Like he was like, we're doing Chloe, we're doing Chloe, we're going Chloe. Whereas Dylan, like when he was doing bad, he kind of took a step back. And even this episode, he was like not pressing too hard one way or the other. He was just doing what the group wanted to do. So I think that's also a difference that I can see why maybe Dylan was able to recover, whereas Sean, like, once he was down, he just ended up getting voted out.
I think the idea of his shield strategy was good. I think he just took out his shield got taken out too quickly. Like we saw in a row, like Stratton and Ella Rose and Abigail, all like huge players be taken out. And so then other than Dylan, like he was kind of the next like big obvious target. So when Dylan won immunity, he was always going to be in trouble. And so I think the idea was there. It's just like he kind of chopped away at those other shields too quickly.
Totally. All right, let's go back to the character that we've missed here, which is Dylan. So we see him talk with Anna and Sarah, and Sarah has this idea to sort of pull him in. Were you guys surprised that Dylan was able to make this move? Just talk me through that initially, the thought of him being the swing vote now, just sort of his decision to leave the guys. We'll talk at the end, obviously, if that was the right decision or not. But let's go reverse this time. I'll start with you, Hunter.
Yeah, I just want to give Dylan props because he to me he's grown on me the most this season, both as a character and as a player. Like he has played, I think, like perfectly for his position, like coming into the merge as this like huge obvious threat that people were wanting to get out. I think that he leaned into that just enough and was able to kind of do the oh, like you can get rid of me anytime, you can get rid of me anytime, like everyone's gonna want to vote me out. And now he's at the final five, probably the best challenge competitor left. And so he has a great shot to make it to the end and win. And I think that he's navigated this socially incredibly well. And so I've been very impressed by him.
Yeah, I think he's doing such a good job. I'm glad he's the only person left on my team, but like I feel like if I'm gonna have one person, I want it to be either like Dylan's not a bad choice at this point. It kind of felt natural, like when he just went to the girls and started working, and like they're like, oh wait, this makes sense. And I think he's done such a good job all season of just like making himself seem like valuable and like really seeming like whenever he talks to someone, I'm like, well, I feel like he genuinely wants to work with them, and then just like talking just to talk. Like I think he's really considering every like alliance and relationship that he can form, and isn't just like talking just to talk.
No, yeah, I really like that point. I think it's honestly like Dylan's miss. Like the way he's able to talk to people, it's just very like I feel like if Dylan was talking to me, it's very like I would feel like he gives the sense that like he really actually wants to work with you. And I do think it's like Dylan's my favorite player this season because it's just so cool to see like he was at the bottom for like what 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and he's now like probably number one or two to win. It's just crazy. That's like a crazy cool story. But yeah, it's like Dylan's so impressive to me right now. It's insane.
Yeah, speaking about Dylan, his previous strategy, and what he did differently, I thought it was interesting, Bella. You said it seems so natural when he's working with the girls. His sort of typical Survivor strategy has been to form this like alliance aside a powerful social like female player like Becca or a season one player, and that's sort of been his like traditional trajectory. And we see how aligning with Gage hurt him so much so quickly that when he didn't do his usual strategy that works for him, it sort of has made him fall down this track, but he's sort of been able to recover and is sort of fostering these relationships with the people in power, a lot of the women in power, and it's very very interesting to watch. All right, let's get to the challenge. I thought this challenge was fun for a lot of reasons. I also thought it sort of showed maybe I think some people are like, what does the social game really look like in Survivor? But I think when you see like someone like Sarah just asking people's questions, how they're doing, you can really get a sense of why she is so good at the social part of the game. Or you see Chase just being funny, you can understand why he has that effect on people. Were you guys? I'm sure you guys were rooting for Dylan to win. Just talk me through the challenge a little bit. We'll start with you, Baylor.
No, yeah, I was kind of rooting for Dylan to win, but he's also like such a big threat, and I've been rooting for Chloe since the beginning. So like, it's kind of rooting against him. I also like I'm rooting for Dylan. I want him to win at this point. So I was very happy when he won. But yeah, I do agree. Like Sarah just kind of, I think this also shows that Sarah is probably like the best, just like straight up social player. Like she's able to just she can just make a conversation with anyone. It really shows how good Sarah is. And I honestly say, like, I don't think we should be counting out Sarah as a winner yet.
I was just impressed how she was like doing all the like closing her eyes and raising one foot while talking. Like I would have had to like been very focused, like silence. And they're talking about where Canada, where they going for the holiday. I'm like, wow, like that would have thrown me off totally.
Yeah, I was definitely rooting for Dylan. I think this was a clutch immunity win for him. I think that he really needed it this round to avoid people's eyes moving onto him. And so I'm glad he won. I kind of want to see the tug of war for power between him and Chloe continue as long as we can have it.
Totally. All right, well, let's keep moving because after the challenge, we see Sarah sort of talk, okay, the girls that we need to stick together. We are bound to break a guy if we can just stick together. She's really adamant on that. But let's start. That was the, after challenge confessional. But then we go and we see Dylan sort of talking about wanting to play with his hands back. Talk me through Dylan's strategy here. Really interesting insight on how you play when you get immunity to not be power hungry. What do you think about it, Baylor?
Yeah, I think it was like very different to everyone else who's won immunity this season because like usually I think we've seen anyone who wins immunity is kind of the person who's most vocal about making moves and wants to make a huge move because they're absolutely safe. So definitely do think it was like really beneficial to Dylan to just put his hands back and watch everyone kind of fight each other and battle it out because one puts targets on other people and it makes him it's like exactly what he needs to be doing right now. It's just kind of laying back and laying down and just letting everyone fight it out because he already has pretty much a resume to win at the end.
Yeah, like for Dylan, if like whoever went home at this point, whether it been Chloe or if it was Sean, like it was gonna benefit his game in some way. Like I feel like he's like tied in with enough people where it matters, but at the same time, I don't think it was necessarily a make or break moment for him. Like whoever went home, so he was able to just kind of sit back and not get himself in more trouble in the future.
See, I worry that this might be one of Dylan's first big missteps, just because like now with Chloe, and he doesn't know Chloe has an idol, but we do, like knowing that Chloe plus the girls are kind of together and Chloe has the idol for Final Five, I could easily see a situation where Dylan is sniped either at Final Five or Final Four if he doesn't have immunity. Because excuse me.
Bless you.
I think people's eyes are going to be on him regardless. Like if he didn't win immunity this round, people were going to go for him. And so I think this should have been a round where he did push a little bit more. Because I think the opportunity for him to kind of fly under the radar is gone now. Because they are so close to the end. And I think that he might have taken out Sean one round too early.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll definitely get into all of that. I think that's a really interesting topic and really gonna set up the end point of this game. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk about Sean. For the first time in 7 episodes, we hear Chloe's name brought up as someone who might get a vote. Well, just talk me through hearing that. First of all, what was that like as a viewer to hear Chloe's name get in trouble for the first time, Baylor, and then just the aftermath of Sean's decision to do that, all of that.
No, yeah, it was definitely obviously it was just kind of a little surprising because she hasn't been, said the entire season. But yeah, I definitely do think it was like I kind of already said it. Like Sean, he's not wrong to want to take out Chloe. In fact, he's right. Like he's the person that should have his way. He's the only one that sees that Chloe is in like the best spot, and so I definitely do think it was like a good idea for Sean to just go for Chloe. Do I think he should have pushed her in a more different way? Yes. I think he probably should have like brought up maybe to the girls how she's been playing both sides or how she's really just been playing the best game. She hasn't had a single vote towards her, like something like that. Um, but yeah, I definitely do think it also shows like even though Chloe was getting attacked this episode, she still only got one vote. Like she wasn't even people weren't even questioning it. It's I think it just shows how good Chloe is at kind of maintaining power while she's getting attacked.
Yeah, it was surprising that he was the only one who maybe not sees her as a threat, but is like saying that we need to do something about this. I feel like his approach with like throwing her name out there, like he just assumed everyone was gonna go with it, and I was kind of confused why he felt that way because he really did seem blindsided, like during the vote off, and I was like, why didn't he think his name was gonna be spoken? Like even when he was talking to the girls, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do Chase." We're, like the other name they were thinking was Chase. I'm like, he was like, Chase doesn't make any sense. Like, why would they vote off Chase? I'm like, well, it doesn't make sense, but she's lying to you. Like that's why it doesn't make sense because you're the person
Yeah.
they want to vote off almost. I was like, come on, man. Like you have to see that.
Totally.
I was surprised that Chloe's name wasn't thrown out more, just because she had like just made this like big, pretty individual move to flip on the girls and take Abigail out last time. And so I really thought that people were going to be looking at her a little more intensely than just Sean, kind of. Like Dylan acknowledged she needed to get out, but he wasn't really going for it this round. And so I was surprised that it wasn't a more aggressive push to get her out. But I also felt like story wise that this was not her time to go. So as soon as Sean started targeting her, I was like, okay, I think Sean's going.
You read the edit.
Yeah, I read the edit. Yeah,
Yeah. So
Chloe's got more in her.
yeah, in terms of the idol hold, that was, I don't know, you could say a relatively ballsy idol hold. Now we have Chloe with the idol going to final five. We'll talk about that later, but let's also talk about the fact that Chloe received a vote, Dylan received a vote, Sarah, Anna, and Chase are all still yet to receive a single vote in this game, which I think is pretty interesting. That going into the final five, one person, being Dylan, has received a ton of votes. Chloe has received one vote, and the other three have received zero. Like, I don't know the odds of that or what that even means. There's got to be some statistical analysis on Survivor if that entails a good or a bad season typically received by the viewers. That would be interesting. But I think it's very interesting that so many players left are so under the radar at this point. I think it's quite fascinating. All right, yeah. So we see after Dylan sits down, or sorry, Sean sits down and is like, "This could be the final four right here," and talks about voting for Chase, even though he doesn't want to do that. The girls are like, "That was a lie. We're voting Sean." Sarah is really mobilizing here, and she's very, very suspicious of Chloe. She's like, "I need to talk to Chloe for a long time and really get in her head how bad this is." Do you think this was the right move for Sarah to go for Sean at this point?
Um, no, I think she should have gone for Chloe, but at the same time, it's like she really can't. Because she hasn't really set herself up to be with the boys. So she does have to kind of stay with Chloe. That's kind of the big thing about her game right now is she can't really go against. She doesn't have the numbers to go against Chloe as of this point. But I also do see the benefit of taking out Sean though. Like Sean was gonna end up gunning for her as well. So I think no matter who she targeted, something good was gonna happen out of it. But yeah.
I think it made sense for her, just for her position overall, to go for Sean. And I keep having to remind myself, like, they don't know that Chloe has an idol. Like, they don't know that they can't get rid of her next vote. So when you keep, like, that in mind, I think it made sense for her to vote Sean because Chloe has been willing to work with her. And then even, like, Case, like, he's not really in there, but he's been willing to work with her more than someone like Sean.
Yeah, I do think it would have been important to take Chloe out this round, considering she has an idol. But like Bella was saying, like Sarah doesn't know that. So with the information that she was working with, I think that Sean was the right choice because I think that Sarah has to get out Sean and Dylan and Chloe if she wants to win. And Dylan had immunity, and Chloe's an important number for her at this moment. And so I think that Sean was the right choice with the information she had.
Let's talk about Chloe's idol. Why is no one thinking that there isn't a Yara idol still? What's up with that? Why are we discounting that at this point? Why is no one thinking? I mean, let's look at the final six. We have 4 people from Yara who also were all in the starting car at the beginning, which I think is funny. All 4 of those people made the final 6. But there's 4 people left. I mean, I think from a strategic standpoint, the likeliness of having an idol is more likely than not because 4 out of the 6 of them are still in. why is everyone discounting that there is going to be an idol in this game? How did Chloe pull that off, Baylor?
I honestly, that's a really good question because I'm not entirely sure. I honestly think the biggest chance of like this happening is honestly just them forgetting about it because it's been what she found it in like episode one or
Episode one.
two. She found it was the first episode, so it's like
10 minutes in.
It's been hours
Yeah.
since she found
It's
it.
been over probably 12
All day,
hours since she found the
literally.
idol. Yeah.
So I honestly think the case is people honestly just it's been so long they must have thought I would have if I was there I would probably just assume that someone got idled out honestly or got sent home with the idol in their pocket. So yeah.
Yeah, also like they were looking for so long, they might have just felt like, wow, like maybe the idol just can't be found. Like that's kind of felt like the consensus they all came to. Not that, someone like Chloe had it the whole time and has been saving it.
Yeah, maybe they thought Stratton went home with it. I know Sarah at one point thought Chase had it or knew who had it. But yeah, it's tricky because it's like you want to prepare for it, but also like you can't make too many decisions under the assumption that someone has an idol. Because like if you go for Chloe, like if Sarah and Anna go for Chloe this round, because they're like, well, what if she has the idol? Then it could put them in a really bad spot against the boys. And so it's tough to balance that.
Yeah, the idols this season have been an interesting topic because really the only idol that people know about was Dylan's, and I feel like people have even forgot at this point that Dylan had that idol play, which is I also think is funny. But nobody knew that Abigail went home with an idol. They thought that vote was just insane for how insane it was, but not even understanding the fact that there was another giant layer to it on top of the siblings, on top of the 4-3. She just found an idol at Tribal Council. Nobody knew that. She reveals that at Final Tribal Council, and everyone's like, "What?" Sorry, little spoiler. I shouldn't give spoilers, but I mean that's just like any Ponderosa talk. But yeah, so I think idols are very interesting this season. Maybe a little bit like second chances, where you don't see idols for so long that people are wondering, are they even in the game? Do they exist anymore? People aren't looking for idols this game. I won't reveal or not if there was like another one hidden back into the game, after Abigail's went home. But, at least at this point, there hasn't been another one found. So it really is just Chloe's idol that's still in the game, which is, very, very interesting. All right. So the people talk, they have their conversations. And we see as Sarah is trying to play defense to Chloe while playing offense to Chloe at the same time. Chloe sort of fires back a little bit in confessional. She sort of is clocking that Sarah is a little bit sus of her. Just tell me about Chloe's gameplay this round. What is Chloe supposed to do after this type of vote? Did she do what she was supposed to do? What does that look like? I'll start with you this time, Hunter. We'll go reverse.
Yeah, I think she did exactly what she needed to. Like, she reintegrated herself with the girls and also maintained a working relationship with the boys, at least with like Dylan, who she had just worked with, to flip the vote last round. And so I think she did exactly what she needed to. Like, she reestablished those strong relationships she has. Like, even after betraying Anna, like Anna was like, yeah, I have no interest in voting out Chloe. Like, she just voted out my number one ally, but I still want to work with her. And so I think, like Baylor was saying earlier, it just kind of demonstrates Chloe's like amazing like social abilities in this game, and her ability to just kind of maneuver exactly where she needs to be.
Yeah, I think she did pretty perfect. Like she went over to the girls pretty much right away, and like even during the thing, she's like, "Oh, I'll explain to you like why I flipped." And I think more like being like none of them were really upset with her. They just didn't really understand it all the way. They're like, "We didn't need to do that," but they weren't really upset with her too much at all. Um, I think they trusted her like the way she was talking, and then working with Dylan. Like if she was working with Dylan was more like kind of like bringing the two groups together in a way. I liked how she did that, and like I didn't really see her talk to Chase at all, but Chase is gonna go where everyone else goes, so she didn't really need to. So I think she played pretty perfect in that regard.
No, yeah, pretty much what they were both saying. Like she played amazingly. I think honestly, if she knew the fact that like like Sarah and Anna can't really do anything, that's even crazier because it's like Loki kind of villainous. Like if like she's thinking they can't do anything, they can't go against me. Like they literally are stuck to stick with me. That's crazy. Like that's insane gameplay. So I honestly think it's a battle with Chloe and Dylan. Like they're both such good players right now. it's so fun to watch them kind of like crisscross on who's because they both have like strengths and weaknesses. There's not like one that's a little bit higher than the other. Like they're both such good, strong players. I'm kind of going in the weeds, but yeah.
No. Yeah. Totally.
I also want to say I think that Sean was the optimal target for Chloe in this moment, even if Dylan didn't win immunity, just because I think Dylan at this point is the only one who would get voted out like before Chloe to kind of be a shield for her. And Sean was the one pushing her name the most. And so I think that keeping Dylan in, even if he didn't have immunity, would have been good for her. And so I think taking out Sean was like the perfect round for Chloe.
Totally.
And she has an idol.
And might I add, I feel like this game feels so different without Abigail. Doesn't it feel like a different, like the season sort of condenses and like she's just such a fundamental narrator. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Chase for a second. So I heard Chase is going to sort of, go with what the vote flows. We sort of see him talk about this episode wanting to be behind, be stealthy, and sort of jump out at the very end. Does he have time to do that still? Or is it just the clock is ticking? Is it over? Was this the right move for him? He just lost his closest ally. What are we thinking about Chase?
I think if he takes out Dylan and Chloe and it's the final two and he takes out Sarah and he's with Anna, I think he might win. But I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Like, at this point in the game, the way things are working, the way we've seen him work, like, even, like, last season, and Chloe has an idol, like, unless he gets some type of masterful advantage, or, like, some plan just dawns on him where he's able to, like, have the perfect scenario Baylor just laid out, I don't think he's going to be able to pull out a win, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see something crazy happen where, against all odds, like, Chase is the winner of Survivor Palisades All-Star. Because even this episode, I think he called it, he's like, I'm not an all-star. He literally said, I'm not an all-star. I was like,
oh, poor
okay.
Chase.
We
I
think
was like,
he's
I
an
have to keep
all-star.
that in.
An all-star in our
That's kind
hearts.
of bad. Like, don't diss yourself.
It's really quite interesting, the perception of this idea of being an all-star just as a concept in this game, because people going in, not just Chase, really felt that they didn't deserve the title. I mean, you see Abigail say in her exit press, I didn't really feel like an all-star until this season, and I think that's so fascinating to hear. Catalina said that as well. I just think this idea of being an all-star and what that means is so fascinating, because honestly, when you look at this cast, a lot of the people who were considered the all-stars are gone. They were gone pretty early when you see Ella Rose and Stratton, relatively early boots. Yeah. All right, we'll keep rolling with this. Let's talk a little bit about wait, did everyone speak on Chase, or did I cut someone off?
I didn't, but I don't have much to say. Like I love Chase. Same position I've been on him all season. Like I like that he's thinking about the fact that he needs to make moves. I think it's just too late. And like Baylor was saying, I think the only winning combination is potentially a final two with Anna. But even then, I don't think it's guaranteed for him. So not a great spot.
And I also just want to add on what Emma was saying, like kind of like I honestly a lot of people hate on the idea that like in all-star seasons the big names go out first and then it kind of just lingers into the people who you don't really know. But honestly, in my opinion, I really like that because I think it's really fun to see the players that like I think it's fun to see them have a chance to kind of show themselves and show their worth. It kind of happened I think with Game Changers when Sarah won. I think it showed like how good of a gameplay player she is. I think it's like that's kind of how this season is going. And I really like that. So I don't think that I love the fact that like a bunch of the big names got out early in the jury and early in the season, and it's kind of left for this really interesting end game where they're all able to kind of actually have a chance to win.
Totally. All right, let's talk about I think my favorite part of this episode, Anna just having a conversation with Sean. Sean is so like in his thought process. It's gotta be Chloe. He says it's gotta be Chloe maybe 10 times this episode. It's gotta be Chloe. I love when he says that. Sean to me gives me like Boston Rob vibes sometimes, like Amber, we gotta take him out. Like, he's like very like soft spoken, but like so articulately strong about what it has to be, and I love that. Like, gotta be Catalina, gotta happen. Like, I love that combination. I find it so funny to watch, and honestly, really really good player, really good combination to be subtly aggressive. But Anna is just not having any of it, and she's sort of like playing with him a little bit, like pump faking him, like, oh, maybe I'll do Chase. I'm gonna do Chase, and like sort of taunting him, but she has nothing that she wants to do with him. She wants him gone. She's like, you've spoken to me twice this whole day. It's one of my favorite lines. Just talk me through that conversation. I'll start with you, Hunter, this time.
I thought Anna was doing exactly what she needed to, like, since she was coming for Sean, like, you can't really tell him. And he correctly identified, like, why would you go for Chase right now? Like, it doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't. And so he was the right target for her. Although it was a tricky spot with Sean trying to get Chloe out, because it is the right move for him to try to get Chloe out. But if he wants to do that, he does need at least one of the girls to come over. And so I think maybe he should have tried to fan the flames a little bit more of like, she just turned on you, like you can't trust her. Because unless Sarah or Anna voted with him and the rest of the boys to get Chloe out, then it would have been a 3-3 tie and she would have been safe. And so I think he really needed to try to pull her over more.
Yeah, let's talk about that really quickly, actually. I think that's interesting. From Sean's point of view, why not go for Sarah here? You know, the person he probably has the least relationship with. Keep the shields in. Is there an advantageous route to go for Sarah here? Chloe might have a little more distrust for Sarah than Sarah has for Chloe. Why not take that action?
I feel like he probably trusts the boys and sees that, like, people want to get Dylan out before the finals. And so I think that if he's like, okay, we take out Chloe and then we can take out Dylan whenever, like people have been saying, I think that was probably his plan, to kind of just like get rid of Chloe and then keep getting rid of the girls until it was time to take Dylan out.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't really know why he just thought like the girls would want to vote out Chloe. Like he didn't really, maybe like it got cut, but he didn't really lay out a strong case. Like he was just like, oh, we're doing it. And like I just kept thinking like when she's saying let's vote off Chase, like that would have like sent red flags in my head. Like why is she saying Chase like as a name? Which even if like he knew it was gonna be him, I don't think there's much he could have done, but yeah, it's just interesting watching that conversation. And then Anna, well, I don't think she's gonna win. Like all her little bits she does are just so funny. Like just kind of just toying with them, like that whole conversation is very entertaining.
No, yeah. I think like that was honestly one of the funniest things of this episode was like the fact that Anna was saying Chase and like it doesn't make sense because there's no one else to say like that. I thought that was so funny because we're getting to the point in the game where it's like what's gonna happen next round when like people are gonna target Dylan or people are gonna target Chloe? Who are they gonna tell they're actually? Who are they gonna tell they're targeting to the people they're actually targeting? Because it's at this point where like everyone's kind of intermingled at this point. So I'm really excited to see how that goes next episode.
Yeah. All right, well, we've sort of hit all the points. Let's really quickly just last discuss the ultimate decision of this round when Sarah tries to sway Dylan and Dylan then talks to Chase. Was this the right move for Dylan? Then we'll talk about how this endgame is going to shake out. I'll start with you, Baylor. Was this the right move to take out Sean at this point?
I definitely don't think it hurt Dylan to take out Sean. But at the same time, I think it would have been way more beneficial to take someone like Sarah or Chloe out. Like it's because at this point his alliance is with the boys. I get he did kind of want to lay back, and I do think that is good for his game. But at the same time, I do think taking someone like Chloe or even someone like Sarah out would have been better for his game.
I think going for Sean did make sense because he like at the end of the day. Wait, I kind of lost my thought there. What was the question again?
Was this the right decision for Dylan?
Oh, I did think it was the right decision because he kept talking about like who he wants to have later, like next vote, like someone that could be voted instead of him because he knows like he still has that target on his back, and I think he does see Chloe as more of a threat than he saw Sean. So I think he might have wanted to keep her for that next round, seeing if he could maybe do something with the girls since he did start talking with them this vote, seeing if he could maybe do something to get her voted out. Knowing she has an idol, I think he definitely should have voted her out. But since he doesn't know that, I think doing Sean was an okay move. Also, Sean was trying to like get him out before he had the immunity necklace. So I think it was okay. It would have been interesting for him to think about Sarah, but among like John or Chloe, I think Sean was a good option for him.
I think this was, I kind of said it earlier, I think this was Dylan's first big misstep. I think that by keeping Chloe in the game and getting rid of Sean, he really handed all the power over to Chloe. And yeah, he doesn't know that she has an idol, but now Chloe, and Sarah and Anna are back together, and I could see them easily taking out Dylan next week. And so I really think that he's in a precarious position. And he said that he wanted to kind of sit back more, which I think has generally been a good strategy for him. But I think we're at the end game to where people are going to be targeting him regardless. Like if he is not immune, like people are going to be gunning for him. And so I think this was probably the time to kind of push more and get someone like Chloe or Sarah out to try and submit more numbers on his side.
Totally. All right, well, let's pivot and let's talk about this endgame. We have 2 episodes left of Survivor Palisades All-Stars. We have 5 players left in the game. We have Anna, we have Chase, we have Chloe, we have Dylan, and we have Sarah in alphabetical order. What is going to happen? What are we going to see happen next week? Start with you, Baylor.
I think it's gonna be, at least for this next episode, it's gonna be a battle with Dylan and Chloe. I think it's gonna be like who's gonna be the one to take out. Thing is, Chloe has an idol. I think it's safe to assume that she will be using it no matter what. If she's smart, she'll just use it. I don't think it's worth it to make a crazy move to use it on someone else to take. So I think we can assume that Chloe is going to be safe, and Chloe for sure makes it to Final Four. What will be super duper interesting is if Dylan wins immunity again, because that's amazing. Like that'll be insane. Because at that point, I honestly have no idea who would go home. I would assume like Chase, but at the same time, I could see a world where Sarah goes out. But yeah, if Dylan doesn't win immunity, I can also see him trying to play up getting Sarah out to maybe like Chase or maybe like Anna. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to assume Chloe's going to be moving on to the next round. So Dylan, it would be very, very advantageous for him to win this next immunity. But even if he doesn't, I could see him trying to sway the girls to either vote. I don't know. I could see him either gunning for Sarah, or most likely I could see him gunning for Chloe. But obviously she has the idol, so it's gonna be very interesting thing what happened. And I wonder if there could be another advantage that comes into play. I don't think I don't think they're going to be looking for it, but I wonder if there is something, hidden that could be found, even if they aren't looking for it. So it's gonna be good. And then after this episode, if Chloe's still there, I could see a world where she's kind of able to become where she's able to take on the person left over. So whether it's Dylan or Chloe, kind of assuming if they don't both make it to the next round, I could see Sarah making her move finally and taking one of them out and being able to have a strong case at final treble.
Yeah. I think if Dylan doesn't win immunity next episode, I think he's cooked. Like, Chloe has her idol, so she's going to be safe no matter what, even if people target her. And so I think if Dylan's not safe, he's the obvious biggest target. And so if he doesn't win immunity, I think that he's probably gone. And then I think that it's honestly, like we've been saying, like a tug of war between Chloe and Dylan. I think that at least one of them gets taken out before the end. If Dylan does win immunity next round, it'll be very interesting because I don't know who they'll go for. But I think that like kind of my tier list, my order would be like Chloe and Dylan, whichever one of them gets to the end, I think is going to win. And I think if Sarah is able to take both of them out back to back, Dylan at the final 5 and Chloe at the final 4, then I think that Sarah probably has it.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a repetition there too, because when you looked at the final 5 of Survivor Palisades, Dave versus Goliath, the same thing was said. She needs to get out Ella Rose and Stratton, and unfortunately, Ella Rose won immunity. Stratton played his idol, and Sarah was not able to do it. Those darn idols blocked her for 3 rounds, for the entire post-merge. Stratton won immunity from 8 to 4, or had immunity. So, yeah. All right, well, let's keep divulging into this idea really quickly. If we have to give one name, who is winning Survivor Palisades All-Stars? I'll start with you, Baylor.
Okay. I was just thinking about this, and I kind of just had like a big thing. I honestly, at this point in time, I think Sarah will win. I think I don't think it's crazy to say, because I think from what I see Dylan going home next episode. I think that's the biggest chance. But then once it's Final Four, Chloe doesn't have an idol. She's the biggest threat for playing her idol, theoretically, and playing the middle, and only having one vote, and being targeted. And so I definitely could see Chloe just getting targeted at Final Four and getting out of Final Four. And then it's Final Three with Sarah, Anna, and Chase. And in that Final Three, I think Sarah wins every time. And then say it's a Final Two, Sarah's had Chase the entire game, and then Sarah's had Anna for the entire post-merge. I see them both clinging to Sarah, and say Sarah takes out Anna, and then she takes out either one of them, and I think she still wins. So I honestly, at this point in time, think that Sarah has the most clear path to win.
That does make a lot of sense, and I can see that very well happening. But narratively, I would really like Dylan to win, because A, he's on my team, and then B, like being the first winner and then coming back to win All-Star, starting from the bottom, and then kind of, getting his way back in throughout the season, like picking up during the post-merge, and then like being able to hang on to the very end. Like that I think for me at this point, I feel like that'd be the most satisfying conclusion. But it's going to be hard to happen. But I think he definitely still has a chance.
I'm going to stick with my girl Chloe. She's been my winner pick since before the first episode. I think she's still in the best position. The final 4 rounds is going to be the hardest for her to get through, but I have faith. And so I think that she's set up best to win, both from a game position and then narratively as well. And so I think that she's taking it.
All right. Well, I could not ask
different answers
for a better
that's fun.
answer. All 3 of you guys delivered some world-class answers there. It seems like Chase and Anna seem to be out of it from your guys' perspective. Let's just really quickly touch on Anna. We touched on Chase a little bit. What happened? Her trajectory at the beginning, she was the first player of the week. She was in control of the merge. How did she sort of derail here? We talked about Survivor Palisades fatigue last time. Is the case just too hot for her to catch back up?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think a big part of her game has been kind of clinging to someone, whether it be Abigail or now Sarah, or kind of anyone that's like voting with her. I think she's always been someone to kind of just stick with, and same with Chase. I think they're just 2 players that kind of just go with the flow. I think that's what they do. And obviously Anna doesn't always go with the flow, but you know what I mean. So I think that's kind of the problem with both of them.
Yeah, like it's just whatever they do now, I think it's going to be too little, too late. They're both fun people, and that might be the reason why they're not necessarily doing something very go with the flow. So I don't think either of them would be able to pull out a victory at this point.
Yeah, I think that if Anna wanted a chance, she would have had to keep up playing more aggressively so that she would have that kind of win equity at the end. But that's also like riskier for her to do, because it makes it more likely she gets voted out. And so I think she's in a tough spot. There's always a world where it is a surprise final 2 and Anna and Chase are at the end together, in which case I think Anna does have a great shot still. But barring that scenario, I think she's out of it. Unfortunately, I love Anna.
All right, so we've talked about everyone. Let's give our player of the episodes really, really quick. I'll start with you, Hunter.
My player of the episode is Chloe. I think that she held on to her idol. She reintegrated herself with the Girls Alliance, and she set up in a fantastic position to make Final Four, and then probably win after that. So Chloe is my player of the episode.
I would also agree with Chloe. she did get her first vote this episode, but it was by the guy going off, so I'm not gonna count too much off for that. And she has her idol going into Final Five, so if I was someone here, I'd want to be Chloe. So she definitely deserves, yet again, another Player of the Week.
No, yeah, I definitely think this was Chloe's episode to kind of run. I think she was in the best spot. Well, I also don't though, because it would have been very easy for everyone to kind of gang up on Chloe and say that she's been playing middle, but she was very easily able to kind of combat that. And she still has an idol. Next episode, we've kind of already been saying that, so I definitely give it to Chloe.
All right. Well, before we depart, anything else to add from you three today? Any
I'll
other
just add,
thoughts?
we kind of already said it, but like the three that each of us said, each like have a perfect narrative, like story to win. Like Sarah, you kind of said like her big mistake last season was people won immunity and had idols. Will that happen again? Will it not? She might win if it doesn't. Dylan, he's been an underdog for the entire game. If he's able to win, he has an amazing underdog story. And then Chloe has had just the best social game, the best, like, everyone has an amazing narrative. They have different pathways. And it's so interesting. Like, it's one of the craziest end games ever. Like, it's so good to watch. It's so fun.
That makes me so happy and grateful to hear because, I've spent, and not just me, a lot of people have spent a lot of time thinking about this end game and how to just set up these characters narratively and making sure that when you get down to the wire. And this episode, I explained to them beforehand, but episode 7 wasn't shown at the Los Angeles premiere, so part of it wasn't done. So I didn't really know how it would flesh out episode 8 and 9 and if it would succinctly follow the storyline. And I thought my takeaway when I did end up finishing this episode more recently was, wow, this really sets up the end game to be crazy. Like, what is going to happen? And I can say without certainty, the next 2 episodes of Survivor Palisades might be the best in the entire season. They might be my favorite, maybe of all time. It is a fight to the finish, like heroes versus healers versus hustlers.
Oh my gosh.
Except there's no fire making. We don't do that. So don't worry about a surprise fire making twist or do or die or emergatory, whatever else you guys think I'm gonna do. It's going to be an absolute battle to the end. So you guys, I mean, if you're sticking around, say that again.
Edge of Extinction.
Edge of Extinction, Gage comes back. Well, I was going to say, if you guys are sticking around to the 50-minute mark on the podcast, you're probably going to watch episodes 8 and 9, so I don't need to convince you. I was like, stick around. But I have a feeling you will, and we appreciate that. I'm proud of us now because we've gotten to the point where people are leaking spoilers for the season. I feel like that makes me feel like we're big, but they're wrong.
Yeah.
Someone was like, all right, I'm here to spoil the season. Chloe idles out Dylan at the final 6. This vote, this person online, they were trying to spoil this vote. And they were like, yeah, Chloe's going to idle out Dylan at final 6. Like, I'll spoil it for you guys. And some people in the comments like, why would you say this? Oh my God, are you kidding me? And I was just like sitting there laughing because I was like,
where did they even get spoilers from?
I don't know. But I'm proud. I'm proud that we have a big enough community that
that means you made it.
We made it.
Yeah,
Should we have
really
an r/spoiled Survivor Palisades sub on Reddit?
There was actually someone watching like with binoculars, like across the street.
Like the Amazing Race people who like go film and like they follow the people. Yeah. Too good. All right. Anything else to add from any of you guys?
I'm just ready. I'm excited.
I'm
ready.
So excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
All right. Well, really quickly, let me just break that down for you guys. How this is going to work is next Thursday, the 20th of November, we will have episode 8 airing at 5 p.m. We'll be back at 5 p.m. So please stay at 5 p.m. We had a technical issue this week, but we will be back at 5 p.m. And then episode 9 will air a week after on Thanksgiving, actually. The finale will air then. You will hear exit interviews from all 5 players that are still in the game at some point. The 8th person voted out, I'll be speaking to them on that Friday, the 21st. And then the other 4 exit interviews from the final 4 will air on the 28th. So a lot of Survivor Palisades content. Then we will have our 2 after shows for episode 8 and 9 airing on the 22nd and the 29th. So make sure that you guys stay tuned for that. I am so excited to do this. I can't wait for this to just fully be published, and yeah, it's going to be a really crazy ride to the end. So still stay tuned. We have 5 really unique characters. Let's do it. All right, thank you guys. Sending off here.